I used to think skinwalkers were just stories until something followed us out of the forest. This happened last autumn when me and two friends decided to camp in a forest a few hours from town. It wasn't a campsite, just a quiet area people used for hiking during the day. We arrived just before sunset and parked near the trail entrance. Everything felt normal at first. Birds, wind through the trees, nothing strange. We set up our tents a little way off the path where it was quieter. As it got darker, the forest went silent faster than I expected. No insects, no owls, nothing. One of my friends joked that it felt like the woods were holding their breath. We laughed it off and made food. While we were eating, we heard footsteps on the trail. We assumed it was another hiker heading back late and called out hello. No one answered. The footsteps stopped immediately. That should have been our first warning. A few seconds later, we heard the footsteps again, but this time they sounded wrong. Too slow, too careful. Like whoever it was didn't know how to walk properly. My friend said it was probably an animal walking on two legs for a moment. None of us fully believed that, but we didn't want to panic. Night fell completely and the temperature dropped. We sat around the fire talking quietly. That's when we heard it. A voice calling my friend's name from deeper in the trees. It sounded exactly like his brother. Same tone, same accent. The problem was his brother was back in town and had no idea where we were camping. My friend stood up instinctively and took a step toward the trees. I grabbed his arm and told him not to move. The voice called his name again, closer this time. Too close. It sounded like it came from behind the trees just beyond the firelight. We shined our torches, but the light didn't reach far. All we saw were tree trunks and shadows. Then the voice changed. It tried another name. Mine. It sounded like my mom this time. Calm, worried, telling me to come help. My chest felt tight. I knew it wasn't her, but hearing her voice in the middle of the forest made my legs want to move on their own. That's when I remembered stories I'd heard about skinwalkers copying voices to lure people away. We stopped talking completely. The fire crackled loudly in the silence. The voice stopped calling out. For a few minutes, nothing happened. Then we heard movement circling us. Not fast. Slow steps moving around the edge of the firelight. Always just out of sight. Leaves crunching, branches snapping. Whatever it was staying in the dark. One of my friends whispered that he could see something standing between the trees. Taller than it should be. Too thin. When I looked, I saw it too. A shape that didn't move like a person. It leaned forward slightly like it was curious. When I pointed my torch at it, the light flickered and the shape disappeared instantly. The voice came back, but this time it was wrong. Like someone trying to remember how a voice was supposed to sound. Words came out stretched and uneven. It told us we were lost and it could help. None of us replied. We slowly backed toward our tents, keeping the fire between us and the trees. The footsteps stopped again. Then we heard something else. Breathing. Heavy and slow, coming from multiple directions. The fire started to die down even though we hadn't touched it. My friend whispered that we should leave everything and run for the car. We didn't argue. We grabbed our torches and ran down the trail without looking back. Behind us, the footsteps followed. Not running, matching our pace perfectly. We could hear branches breaking, but never saw anything pass us. At one point, I heard my own voice shout my name from behind. I didn't scream, I didn't turn around. When we reached the car, my hands were shaking so badly I dropped the keys. As soon as the engine started, the forest went silent again. No footsteps, no voices. We drove off fast, not speaking until we were miles away. None of us wanted to say what we thought it was. We stayed at a motel that night instead of going home. Around 3 a.m. my phone buzzed. I had no signal, but I had a missed call. The contact name was my friend who was asleep in the bed next to me. I checked his phone. He hadn't called anyone. The next morning we went back to the forest entrance in daylight to grab anything we left behind. The trail looked normal again. Birds were back, wind in the trees. Our campsite was still there, untouched. But around the fire pit, we saw footprints. Bare feet. Too long, too narrow. And they didn't point toward the trail. They pointed deeper into the forest. We never went back after that. We didn't talk about it much either. But strange things started happening. We'd hear someone calling our names when we were alone. Sometimes the voice sounded like each other, sometimes like family. Every time it came from outside. A few weeks later, one of my friends swore he saw something standing at the edge of the woods near his house late at night. Tall, still, watching. When he shined a light at it, it vanished. He moved away not long after. I avoid forests now even during the day. But sometimes when it's quiet enough, I hear footsteps behind me that stop when I stop. And every now and then, I hear my mom's voice calling my name from somewhere she couldn't possibly be. I don't think what we met wanted to hurt us that night. I think it was learning our voices, learning our names, and I think the only reason we got away is because we didn't answer back.